Hello students, we are doing Olivia's character with you, and the best part to finish this remaining part of Olivia's character is perhaps to go to individual places in the text and try to understand her from the words spoken by her. In this particular segment, we are going to deal with 4 such places of Olivia's speech where intricacies of her characters really come out. The first among them would be Act 3, Scene 1, lines 107 to 118. Act 3, Scene 1, lines 107 to 118. We had done that part when she actually sends Malvolio with the pretense of giving back Cesario's ring, a ring that Cesario never left to her. Now, on the next meeting with Cesario, she is actually confessing what she had done, and you can see from the speech that she is one of the characters who speak straight from her heart. There is hardly any pretense in this character. Of course, her idea of mourning the death of her brother is to some extent clouded with the idea of mourning, or rather with the stereotype of mourning sisters in classical literature. But when she actually speaks, and this is observable throughout the play, when she actually speaks, she brings out the inner essence of her character. Let's read this part. Olivia says, "Give me leave, beseech you. I did send." Give me leave is over here, leave is permission. Give me the permission to speak, I request you. "I did send, after the last enchantment you did here, a ring in chase of you. So did I abuse myself, my servant, and I fear me. You, under your hard construction must I sit, to force that on you in a shameful cunning, which you knew none of yours. So how did you look at me? How did you take me? This was a mistake I did, and I'm sure you have judged me in a very wrong way. You have taken me to be overbearing. What might you think?" So you see, she has done things which are silly, but she is also conscious of the silliness of these things. And like every sensitive woman in Shakespeare, she is also concerned about her respectability, perhaps particularly because Cesario is a gentleman. What might you think? Have you not set mind honor at the stake and baited it with the unmuzzled thoughts that tyrannous heart can think? Now, have you taken my honor at the stake? Are you baiting with my honor with the unmuzzled thoughts, meaning uncontrolled thoughts? You have gone beyond bounds of your imagination to think how shameless I am and how trivial is my sense of honor. That's the idea. The reference over here is to bear baiting, which was a popular sport in Shakespeare's day. You also have a reference to bear baiting in Macbeth towards the end of the play. "To one of your receiving, enough is shown. A cypress, not a bosom, hides my heart. So let me hear you speak. To a person as intelligent as you, to one of your receiving, enough is shown." I have spoken enough. I have expressed enough to show my my affection towards you, my longing for you. A cypress, not a bosom, hides my heart. A thin, transparent linen is what hides my real intention. My real intention, which is in my heart within, is not hidden by my breasts, but it is hidden by a thin, transparent linen, meaning it can be uncovered very easily. My heart. By heart, she means her real intention. So let me hear you speak. I pity you. I pity you is what Viola says, because she has, this also to some extent throws light on Viola's character. Rather than being disgusted, she is piteous because she knows the pangs of love, having herself fallen in love with the Duke. But what does this bring out about Olivia's character? That she perhaps acts under impulse, particularly when she is very desperate. We can see she is from the earlier meeting with Cesario, she is very desperate in terms of these romances, and perhaps that's what compels her to be so forward. But on retrospect, she is capable, because she comes from a respectable background, she is capable of knowing the limits to which she must move, the limits which she must not overcome. And she is also conscious of the fact that Cesario, being a gentleman, would perhaps not take these things in a light-hearted, in a liberal way. He must be having ideas about her, and this is something that coming from a sophisticated background, she does not like. So of course in this play we laugh at the folly of Olivia, but at the same time she appears to be rational at places, and her plea towards Cesario somewhat rings with an intensity of sincerity. We'll come to the next, this is Act 3 Scene 1, so we'll come to Act 3 Scene 4, another speech by Olivia. And these are lines 185 to 189, quite a short one. Olivia is saying more or less the same thing. But notice over here that she is capable of self-criticism. She is capable of identifying the desperation within her, and she is admitting, in this place we are going to do, the necessity to quell that desperation, the necessity to bring down her passion for Cesario. In fact, we call her Cesario all the time before the arrival of Sebastian, because to the Elizabethan audience you must understand that Viola was nameless. It's only Sebastian who comes and calls her Viola, and then the audience gets to know that her name is Viola, her actual name is Viola. Her name, the real name, has never been mentioned by her, not even to the captain. So she is nameless, and she would be, before the arrival of Sebastian, she would be called by the name she takes up, that is Cesario. So in one sense, Sebastian is a complementary character to her, because Sebastian gives her a particular identity, the identity that comes with a name. Anyway, coming back to Olivia says, I have said too much unto a heart of stone, and lain mine honour to unchary out. There is something in me, this part is more important. There is something in me that reproves my fault, But such a headstrong, potent fault it is, that it but mocks reproof. Now, I know that I have spoken to someone who has a heart of stone, who won't listen to me, who won't fully appreciate my point of view. And I also know that it is uncharitable, it's unchary, that's the word he used, that, unchary, careless. So my honor will be taken with carelessness. It will be taken as a kind of a trivial expression. My words will be taken very carelessness, and therefore my honor will be discounted over here. There is something in me, now this is important, there is something in me that reproves my fault. I have another person telling within me that this is wrong. You have already faced her trying to correct her, Viola trying to correct her, but deep inside her, there is another person telling her that this is wrong. But such a headstrong, potent fall it is, that it but mocks reproof. But I am so stubborn in pursuing this goal. It is such a headstrong and potent and powerful, obstinate kind of fault that if someone comes to reprove it, it will mock at it. Think of a indisciplined child. If you go to scold the child will mock you. So it's my fault is like that, like an indisciplined child which actually mocks at someone who tries to correct it. So you see, she is aware of the fact that she is to some extent deceived by her excesses, but she is conscious of it, but she is unable to correct her over here. So these are places that bring out the essential person in her. But what is also remarkable over here is the fact that the fault she is talking about is a fault because she is not being able to pursue a person who has a proper gender for her, who has a proper gender, a person with the acceptable gender, so to say. She doesn't understand that Cesario is a woman. But actually that is not her fault. That is something she is unable to understand. It's not a fault ingrained in her character. But the irony lies in that the fault ingrained in her character is regarding her idea of mourning, which, however, she doesn't understand. Now, of course, she is completely, to some extent, out of it, but she doesn't understand that kind of a mourning is just a kind of a, playing to the gallery, so to say. It has got nothing to do with the essential nature of losing someone close to one. The next, this is Act 3, Scene 4. The next one would be from Act 4, Scene 3. And this would be lines 22 to 35. This time, Sebastian has already entered. And, because Cesario has always expressed his unwillingness, Olivia is running after Sebastian with a priest, because at the first instance she wants to marry Sebastian. She doesn't want to leave any opportunity over here. So Sebastian was with a soliloquy, entered Olivia with a priest. And Olivia comes to right bang on the issue at the very beginning. Blame not this haste of mine. If you mean well, this is Act 4, Scene 3, lines 20, it would be about 22 to the end of the scene actually. If you mean well, let now go with me and with this holy man into the chantry by. chantry, church, okay, chapel. Then before him and underneath that consecrated roof, sacred roof, reminding Sebastian that you won't be able to break that bond of marriage because it's somewhat a kind of a holy bond. Plight me the full assurance of your faith. Pledge that you really consider me as your wife, that my most jealous and too doubtful soul may live at peace, and in this way somehow save me from my jealousy, from my suspicion. Jealousy, you must be knowing this from Othello. Jealousy in Elizabethan England meant suspicion. He shall conceal it while you are willing it shall come to naught. The time we will our celebration keep according to my birth. What do you say? Okay? We will celebrate in accordance with my social position later, but let us do this marriage first. Blame not this haste of mine, starts with an apology. She is conscious, my most jealous, suspicious and doubtful soul. She has reasons for her doubt. She is not being able to identify the difference between Cesario and Sebastian right now. Cesario has always been a slippery customer. She has reasons for doubt, but see how she is presenting it. That she is conscious that marriage in a social station requires a kind of acceptance of the necessary hierarchical rituals belonging to her class, which was very important in Shakespeare's time. The concept of hierarchy and living up to that hierarchy. So she accepts that, and then she actually in fact drags him to marriage. I'll follow this good man and go with you, Sebastian says, and having sown truth ever will be true. Since I had already sown that I'll marry you, okay, I'll be true to the swearing. Then lead the way, good Father, and heavens to shine, that may fairly note this act of mine. Again, she is, she wants heaven to bless her, not only because of the fact that they are marrying, but because of the fact that she is too rash and too desperate in marrying under such haste. We still have one part of the play we wanted to do regarding Olivia's character. Still we have left that. We'll come to the end of the time slot. Making it longer would also make the video difficult to upload or download. So the next video segment would be a short one in which we'll finish the character, or maybe one of usual length, in which in the first part we'll finish the character of Olivia and then deal a little bit about the character of Feste and the other characters over there. Thank you so much.